Hey guys, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to GFC Global Football Culture. So this video right here is going to be my tactical analysis of the game between Tottenham Hotspur and Leicester that happened on Sunday. That was the 19th of December 2020. So yeah, let's get right into it. So to start off with, in the first half, both teams came out in a 4-2-3-1 formation. As you can see, Spurs on the left with their 4-2-3-1 and Leicester on their right with their 4-2-3-1. So for those of you that may not know much about the game, the 4-2-3-1 basically comes from a back line of 4, 2 CDMs, 3 attacking mids, which for both teams was 2 wingers, a left winger and a right winger, and an attacking midfielder and a striker. And basically both teams lined up in a 4-2-3-1. So the interesting thing about the first half of this game was that Leicester actually had the majority of the possession, especially in the first 20 minutes. They were really the ones trying to get into the attacking system of play and try to get a goal as soon as possible. So with that being said, I figured it would be best to start off by looking at what Leicester tried to do when they had possession of the ball. So in possession of the ball, Leicester basically lined up in a 2-4-1-3 formation. As you can see here, it's a backline of 2 with Fofana and Evans, 4 in the midfield, Maddison as the 1, and a front line of 3. So basically you get this 2-4-1-3 formation because the fullbacks would come up into the midfield line to make the 4, and then the wingers, Barnes and Brighton, would go up into the forward line to make the 3. So the first mechanism that Leicester used during this game was that the goalkeeper would play short to the center backs, who would be split into the half spaces. So as you can see here, Wesley Fofana is in the right half space, and on the left half space is Johnny Evans, and Kasper Schmeichel, the goalkeeper, is trying to get the ball out to them. Same picture here. Kasper Schmeichel has played the ball out to Johnny Evans in the left half space. So yes, the center back splitting wide was in the build-up phase was one of the key features for Leicester. Also, Youri Tielemans, I highlighted him because he was the deep line playmaker for Leicester. Anytime the center backs of Leicester got the ball, they were trying to get the ball to Tielemans as fast as possible because he has a very good range of passing, both short and long. So they would try to get the ball to him. And then as you can see in this picture, he had 3 options. Out wide to the left, in the half space to have Harvey Barnes, but in this picture he actually chose to make the pass out wide to the right. So getting the ball to Youri Tielemans as much as possible was very important to Leicester. Also, they used James Maddison a lot in the half spaces. He's the number 10 of Leicester, so they gave him a lot of freedom to roam into the half spaces, both the left half space and the right half space. In this picture, we see James Maddison in the right half space, and with him here, what it basically did was it created numerical superiority for Leicester, because you see it's 5 blue versus the 4 whites of Tottenham in this picture. So yeah, Maddison roaming into the half spaces was really important for Leicester. Same thing here, is in the right half space. As we can see, he's in the right half space, and here what he's able to do is actually get his head up and get across into the box where Jamie Vardy is trying to meet it to basically get a header in. Even though they didn't score from this was kind of the effect Maddison getting to the half spaces had. He was able to get on the ball a lot, especially down the right hand side. Leicester focused a lot of their play down the right flank of Tottenham, partly because Reguilon, the left fullback of Tottenham, would get very high up, so there was always space in behind him for Leicester to play into when they would get possession of the ball. So out of possession in the first half, Spurs started off in a 4-2-4 formation. As you can see here, the back line of 4, the 2 in the midfield, and then the front 4 in order to counteract Leicester's 2-4-1-3 formation. Here you see it again. It's the midfield 2 and then the front 4 in this picture here. One of the negatives though for Spurs in terms of utilizing this 4-2-4 formation was that it created a lot of space in the flanks for Leicester to utilize. As you can see in this picture with the big blue circles here in this picture, indeed he's able to get the ball out to the flank for James Justin. Here again in this picture, because the two of the midfield and the four of in the forward line of Leicester are so compact and narrow centrally, once again here in this picture, Johnny Evans is able to play the ball out wide to the fullback Castagna, and as you can see, there's so much space in here for Leicester to play into because of how narrow the 4-2-4 of Tottenham was. Also, another thing it did was that it allowed James Maddison to kind of play in the central pocket between Sissoko and Højbjerg. As you can see here, there's Maddison between Højbjerg and Sissoko. So yeah, Leicester was able to get him the ball sometimes, and then he'd be able to either spread the ball out wide or turn and drive into zone 14, which is, you know, one of the most dangerous zones in football. So yeah, that was some of the deficiencies of the 4-2-4 that Spurs tried to utilize in the first half. So halfway through the first half, Spurs try to fix this by switching to a 4-1-4-1 formation out of possession, and this was better because it allowed Højbjerg to pick up Maddison directly, and then they were able to go man-to-man in their midfield line. So you see Son with Justin, Ndombele with Ndidi, Sissoko with Tielemans, and Lo with Castagna. So you can see it again in this picture, the 4-1-4-1. You see Højbjerg, you see the line of four. Son's got Justin. Who is this right here? Ndombele has got Ndidi. Sissoko has Tielemans, and Lo Celso has Castagna. So yeah, the bad thing about this though is that it did allow Leicester center backs to get on the ball a lot more, because it would be only Kane trying to pick up two guys. So here you have numerical superiority for Leicester. But the good thing about this 4-1-4-1 out of possession that Tottenham switched to was that it forced Leicester to play a lot more long balls. As you see in this picture here, Fofana has no option in the midfield line, so he's forced to play a long ball to try to hit Harvey Barnes. So it's important that we also look at what Spurs did when they were in possession of the ball. And when they were in their possession, the formation they tried to use was a 3-3-4 formation. So basically, Højbjerg joins the center backs to make a line of three. Son drops into the midfield line to make a line of three, and then the fullbacks get high up into the forward line to make a line of four with Kane and Lo Celso. And the main mechanism that Spurs used was when the goalkeeper would play the ball out to the center backs, they would try to get it to Højbjerg as much as possible. He was basically their deep line playmaker, just like Tielemans was for Leicester. He would get on the ball and find passes to penetrate Leicester's first line of defense, and also try to spray the ball forward and out wide. Another mechanism that Spurs used during this game was basically the left winger would drop into the midfield line, as you see here with Son. With him dropping, James Justin follows him, and then we see a couple seconds later, as the play goes on, Son passes to Højbjerg, who passes to Alderweireld, and then Alderweireld plays the ball over the top to Kane, who was run into the space left behind by Son and James Justin tracking him. So here we see James Justin is actually trying to recover, but he's not able to do it fast enough, and the ball goes over the top. But unfortunately, Spurs were not able to do anything with this passage of play. Here, as another example, this time Kane is the one that drops into the midfield line. Højbjerg has split the first line of Leicester's defense to get the ball to Kane. He's able to turn, and then he has many options. Here you see the line of four. Again, for Spurs, you see the fullbacks, Reguilón on the left and Ori on the right are nice and wide, so Kane can play the ball to either of them. Or in other times during the game, he had the option to try to slip in Lo Celso or Son. And then another mechanism used by Spurs was that they were able to play the ball over the top, like because they were trying to score as soon as possible. Sometimes they would just play long from the defensive line through center backs or Højbjerg, and try to go over the top. Here we have Eric Dyer trying to hit Kane over with the ball over the top. So out of possession, in order to counteract Spurs Tottenham's 3-3-4, Leicester lined up in a compact 4-4-2 out of possession. So basically what this was that the wingers of Leicester would drop into the midfield line with Ndidi and Tielemans to make a line of 4, and then Maddison would push up with Vardy to make a line of 2. And you have the back line of 4 as well. So here again you see the 4-4-2 of Leicester, the back line of 4, the midfield line of 4, and then the 2 of Vardy and Maddison. And so here what you see is that Leicester actually didn't use a very intense pressing tactic. What they did do was that Jamie Vardy and Maddison would try to position themselves in ways that would force Tottenham's defense, center back, and Højbjerg to play the ball out wide. As we see here, Vardy's basically with his body turned towards the sideline. He gives Alderweireld no choice but to play out wide. So they're able to stop Tottenham from playing balls into the middle of the pitch, so that which basically kills off that potential danger of Spurs being able to get into zone 14. So in transition, what we see is that Leicester played quick and direct. As we see in this picture, Brighton wins the ball and plays it right down the flank to try to hit James Maddison in this picture. So Leicester were very quick and direct in transition, especially because they had the pace of Jamie Vardy and Harvey Barnes on the pitch. And then it was the same for Tottenham. When they won the ball in transition, same thing, they were trying to play quick and direct as much as possible. As we see in this picture here, Tottenham wins the ball, and Sissoko plays the ball as soon as he can right down the line, with Harry Kane making a forward run. But what happened, even though the game was very even in the first half, is that Aurier gave away a stupid penalty in the 46th minute, just pretty much when the halftime was coming up, and then Jamie Vardy stepped up as usual and finished. So that was 1-0 to Leicester at halftime. So this forced Spurs to make some changes going into the second half. They actually brought on Gareth Bale for Ndombele to start the half, and then as the second half wore on, we saw Lucas Moura and Harry Winks also come into the game for Spurs. So to start the second half, Spurs basically decided to change the attacking system of play when they were in possession from a 3-3-4 to a 2-3-5. So as you can see here in this picture on the right, it's a line of 5 in the forward line, 3 in the midfield, and 2 in the back. So that's how you get the 2-3-5. To start off with, though, their formation was a 4-3-3. That's how they wanted to start off with. But what happened was that Lo Celso got hurt like 4 minutes into the second half, so they brought on Lucas Moura for Lo Celso and went back to the 4-2-3-1. And still, with the 4-2-3-1, their attacking system of play was still a 2-3-5, as you see in the picture on the right. So Lucas Moura would drop from that left wing position and come into the midfield line to create the 3 in the midfield, and then the fullbacks would get nice and high on the forward line to help create that line of 5. And so here you see I noticed one of the mechanisms of Tottenham in the second half, following on from the first half, was the vertical movement of the left winger. So here, like I mentioned, Lucas Moura drop it into the midfield line to help create a line of 3. Here he's turned Ndidi, and then he's able to drive forward to try to get the ball to the forward line. And then also 2 other mechanisms I noticed was that Spurs played a lot more long balls in the second half because they knew that they were chasing the game, so they have to get a goal back. So as you see here, Alderweireld is playing a long ball to Harry Kane. There was a lot more long balls from Tottenham, in the second half compared to the first half. And also here I've highlighted Lucas Moura. Here you see that instead of utilizing negative vertical movement to get into the midfield line to make a three, he's actually used positive vertical movement here to create a line of six in the front in the forward line of Spurs. So you have the fullback Reguilon, you have Mora, you have Son, Kane, Bale, and then Aurier. So this gives them a lot of width, and also because these four guys are not in a straight line, there's a little bit of depth, as you can see in how rugged the front line is. It gives them depth so that they can kind of move around Leicester's, or try to move around Leicester's defense a little bit and create space for guys to run into. Again, you see here more long ball from Spurs. This time it's a off the goal kick. It's a direct long kick from Lloris. He did this a lot more compared to the first half when he was basically just passing short to the to his two center backs. So they're trying to get the ball up the foot as much as possible, as quick as possible, because they're chasing the game. So the earlier they could get a goal back, the better it would have been for them. So in order to counteract these mechanisms of Spurs in the second half, Leicester basically came out and in the second half with the same 4-4-2 out of possession that they used in the first half. The only difference being that Leicester came out with a lot more of a counter-attacking mindset because they had the lead. So basically the coaches, Brendan Rodgers, is like, well, since we have the lead, let's let Tottenham have more of possession of the ball and have them try to break us down. And when we win the ball back, we'll try to hit them on the counter-attack. So here you have, again, the compact 4-4-2, a back line of four, a midfield line of four, and then the two of Vardy and Maddison to counteract the 2-3-5 of Spurs. So here again, you see the 4-4-2 nice and compact. Here the forward line is so high up because it was off a goal kick right when the second half started. That's why Vardy and Maddison are so high up. But here you see the depth between the defensive line and the midfield line is very good. This is probably like 10 to 12 yards, which is pretty much what you want. So it's nice and compact. That's really, really hard to break down. And then here we see a mechanism that Leicester used a lot in the second half, was that their wingers would track Spurs fullbacks. So here we see our Brighton with the widest guy of Spurs. So normally this would be Reguilon, but for some reason in this particular moment, Reguilon was infield and Mora was out wide. But anyway, it still shows that the winger of Leicester would track the widest guy of Spurs. And then on this side here, on the left side, we have the winger Harvey Barnes tracking Moussa Sissoko, who at this point in the game had become the right back for Spurs. So with the wingers tracking the fullbacks, what this did was it allowed the fullbacks of Leicester to come in more narrow into the field in order to pick up the inside forwards of Leicester when they were in the when they had the line of six. So here you see James is picking up Gareth Bale, and here you see Amate, the right back, and during the second half picking up here Reguilon. Normally this would be Mora over here or Son. It just happened to be that in this particular phase they had Reguilon and Mora had switched positions. But yeah, basically the fullbacks, the wingers of Leicester tracking the fullbacks of Spurs meant that at times Leicester's back four would change into a back five or a back six, to stop Tottenham from having numerical superiority in the attacking phase in Tottenham's attacking third. And the last two mechanisms I noticed that Leicester used was that they played a lot more long balls, as we see over here when Fofana played a long ball over the top to Maddison, which Maddison ended up scoring from this long ball, but then the goal was actually given as offsides because Maddison was just slightly offside. And also, you should notice here is the space behind the Region. And this space happens because Region is pushing so high up to create that 2-3-5 that sometimes with him and and the right fullback so high up, there was space behind them that Leicester could get into. And that's basically what allowed the second goal for Leicester to happen, was that Serge Aurier was high up the field and didn't track back. Jamie Vardy was able to um, get into the space that he had left. And here we see once again James Maddison in the right half space, just like in the first half. He crosses the ball, and then Vardy heads it. It comes off Alderweireld and ends up in the net, and then that's 2-0 for Leicester. Yeah, so basically Leicester being nice and compact, playing on the counter attack and taking advantage of the open spaces that were available to them due to Spurs having no choice but to go into a 2-3-5 in order to try to get a goal back. And so this basically was Brendan Rodgers' first win over Jose Mourinho. And as you can see here in the stats, Tottenham had 56% of the ball. But this was mainly because in the second half, Leicester chose to sit back and play on the counter-attack, which proved to be the right tactic because it got them another goal and they won the game 2-0. And we see that Leicester actually had way more shots than Tottenham, and that's a reflection of their dominance in the first half. So, yeah, even though overall the possession stat would lead you to think that Tottenham were the dominant team. Brendan Rodgers set out Leicester with a very good game plan, both offensively and defensively, in the first and the second half, which was able to stifle any of Tottenham's attacking prowess and basically get Leicester the win. So yeah, it was a great win for Leicester, and it actually moved them up to second in the table. Yeah, second in the table. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this tactical analysis. Any of you that saw this game, leave me your thoughts about the match down below. Let me know what you think about my tactical analysis in general, things you think I can do better in the future. Because for now, my plan is to do one of these every week, release them every Monday at around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, with all that being said, please like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anybody, any coaches or any fan of the game, anybody learning the game that you think will be into tactical breakdowns of football matches. So I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and yeah, till next time, ciao.